Hello there, dear friend. Come sit beside me for a while, just you, me, and this quiet morning. Maybe you're holding a warm cup of tea, the kind that fits just right in your hands. The porch is still. The air smells faintly of soil and yesterday's rain. There's bird song in the distance and a soft breeze lifting the edges of an old curtain. Out here in this peaceful corner of the world, time feels slower, and maybe that's just what we need. If you've ever looked at something worn or broken and felt a little twinge in your heart, a drawer missing its knob, a teacup chipped at the rim, a ladder leaning in the shed, then you already know the quiet magic we're about to share today. Because beauty doesn't come from money. It doesn't require youth or speed. It comes from care, from memory, from hands like yours that still know how to give old things a second chance. Today, we'll explore 25 simple, soulful garden ideas that take what others throw away and turn it into something that blooms. A story, a song, a new beginning. All using things you may already have or can find at a thrift store for the price of a smile. So let's take this walk together. You don't need to rush or lift anything heavy. Just bring your imagination and the joy of knowing that even in these golden years, your creativity is more vibrant than ever. Let's begin. Remember the old bed in your childhood guest room, the one with the creaky springs and the floral quilt that smelled faintly of lavender and thyme. Maybe it's long gone now, or maybe the frame still leans somewhere in the back of the shed, rusted but sturdy. You might be surprised to know that those springs once built to support dreams can now support something just as precious, life. That's the beauty of today's idea, turning an old mattress spring into a stunning vertical garden. Start by finding an old spring mattress frame, the kind with metal coils. Twin-size ones are usually easier to handle, especially if you're working on a patio wall or balcony. If it's a little rusty, no worries. A wire brush and a gentle rinse can do wonders. If you'd like, spray it with a coat of white or pastel-colored rust-resistant paint, something that matches your garden's mood. Soft mint green, perhaps, or robin's egg blue. Next, it's time to plant. But don't worry, you won't be lifting anything heavy. Small terracotta pots or lightweight plastic containers work best. You can nestle them into the mattress coils or use simple twist ties or garden wire to secure them in place. Fill each with a little soil and drop in your plants. Choose low-maintenance flowers like petunias, pansies, or even herbs like thyme and oregano. And if your hands tire easily, take your time. This kind of garden doesn't demand a deadline, just delight. Once planted, your vertical mattress becomes more than decor. It becomes a living wall, a soft blooming tapestry. The springs, once meant for sleeping now, cradle color and scent and story. And the beauty of this idea is how well it works for small spaces. No bending, no digging, just upright ease and eye-level joy. Perfect for balconies, fences, or that one patch of wall where nothing ever quite fit. It's funny, isn't it? The very thing that once held your rest now holds your creativity. What was once considered scrap is now a symbol of resilience, of color returning to a faded frame. Still useful, still strong, still blooming. Do you remember the first bike you ever owned? Maybe it had a banana seat or streamers on the handlebars. Maybe it carried you to school, to a friend's house, or just around the neighborhood on quiet summer evenings. That chain, once greased and spinning with purpose, may be long retired, but even a tired bicycle chain can bloom again. In this idea, we're turning old bicycle chains into beautiful metal flowers for your garden wall. It's a lovely way to bring new life to something that's seen many miles. Start by gathering a few old chains. You can often find them at local thrift stores, salvage yards, or even tucked away in your garage. Wear gloves, of course these chains may be greasy or dusty. Soak them in a gentle vinegar solution or warm soapy water to clean off the ears. Once dry, lay the chain flat and begin shaping it into simple spirals and loops. Think of petals, a large flower with looping rings, or smaller blooms layered like a daisy. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, the imperfections, the slight bends, the unique curves make each flower feel alive. For color, you can spray paint each chain flower in bold shades, perhaps sunflower yellow, tangerine orange, or a rich turquoise blue. These colors really pop against wooden fences, shed walls, or brick. For an easier option, leave them in their natural metallic patina. The rustic look pairs beautifully with green leaves and morning dew. Attach your flower to a wooden board, an old cabinet door, or directly onto your fence using simple hooks or screws. If your hands aren't steady, ask a loved one to help with that step. Once mounted, you'll have an eye-catching piece of art, one that plays with light texture and history. What's most magical about this piece is the way it tells a story. These chains once traveled roads, carried laughter, and held memories in their links. Now they hang peacefully in the garden, no longer moving, but still meaningful. It's a reminder that we all change shape as we age. Our roles shift, but beauty that stays, still shining, still creating joy, just like you. There's something charming about the circles we trace through life, the way memories come around again, the way beauty sometimes hides in the most unexpected shapes. Do you remember the sound of a bicycle wheel spinning freely? That soft, clicking rhythm like a tiny windmill catching speed. It's a sound tied to freedom, to youth, to movement. Now imagine those old rims quiet, no longer rolling, standing tall in your garden, full of new purpose and playful color. To begin, gather one or more discarded bicycle rims. They're often easy to find at garage sales or community donation centers, and they don't need to be perfect. In fact, a little wear adds charm. Clean them gently with a cloth and remove any sharp edges if needed. If the spokes are intact, even better, they add lovely detail. Next, choose a color palette. Maybe soft pastels to match spring flowers or bold primary colors for a bit of cheerful contrast. Spray paint the rims outdoors on a drop cloth using light coats. Bright red, sky blue, sunshine, yellow. These tones stand out beautifully against brick walls or wooden fences. Once dry, you can mount the rims directly onto your garden wall or lean them artfully along a fence. Arrange them in a cluster like flowers, or scatter them with purpose like stars in a sky. If lifting is a challenge, consider placing them low among flower beds or tucked into ivy where they become visual surprises at every turn. You can take it a step further by weaving climbing vines or fairy lights through the spokes. Clematis or sweet peas love to curl, and their delicate tendrils soften the metal's edge. Or for a twinkle at twilight, a simple solar light woven through the rim creates a quiet glow that lingers into the evening. This project doesn't require heavy lifting or digging, just imagination. A bit of paint, a wall, a memory. And when it's done, what you have is not just decor, but a quiet celebration of movement, story, and reinvention. A rim that once spun down a gravel path now spins tales in your garden. Because some things never lose their ability to turn, not wheels. And certainly not you. Still turning, still bringing light. You know those favorite jeans, the ones you wore while planting your first rose bush, or perhaps while chasing grandchildren through the yard. Maybe they've grown soft with age, a little frayed at the hem, a bit too snug or too loose now. But what if those jeans could still stand in your garden, not as clothing, but as planters full of life? That's the idea behind this next project, turning a pair of worn-out jeans into playful hanging flower planters. Start with a pair you no longer wear. Any size works, though. Children's jeans often make for charming mini versions. Shake out the dust and give them a good wash if needed. If they still hold their shape well, you're halfway there. The legs become pockets of possibility. Roll them slightly or leave them long and flowing like banners in the breeze. You can hang the jeans over a sturdy branch porch railing or attach them to a wall using hooks or nails. If you'd rather not lift, consider draping them over a chair back or setting them gently along a railing. Line the inside of the legs and pockets with a plastic bag or grow bag to help hold soil and moisture. You can tuck small pots into the legs as well, especially if you'd like to keep the fabric clean. Fill with lightweight potting soil, then gently press in flowers like petunias, pansies, or cheerful trailing ivy. The result, a pair of jeans that seems to be standing in your garden, proudly holding blooms instead of bones. Add a straw hat above or a belt with garden tools, and suddenly you've got a little character standing guard by your hydrangeas. This DIY is full of whimsy. It asks nothing of you but a sense of humor and a few quiet minutes. No bending, no hammering, just cloth, flowers, and imagination. And it tells a quiet story that just because something doesn't fit the way it used to, doesn't mean it's lost its worth. In fact, it might be just the thing your garden needed. Still sturdy, still bringing joy, just like you. Close your eyes and think of the kitchen you loved most. Maybe it was your mother's, your grandmother's, or your own when your children were small. The sound of drawers opening silverware, clinking a quiet rhythm of daily life. Who would have thought that those everyday utensils once used to serve meals and memories could sing again, this time in the wind? Today's project turns old spoons and forks into a magical wind chime, one that whispers in the breeze and sparkles in the sun. To begin, gather your old or mismatched cutlery. A spoon with a worn handle, a fork missing its shine, these are perfect. You'll also need a simple base to hang them from. An old ladle, a wooden dowel, or even a piece of driftwood works beautifully. If you have limited strength in your hands, choose lightweight utensils and avoid anything that requires tight twisting. Now give your cutlery a gentle wash and polish. If you'd like to add some color, use acrylic paint or spray paint on the handles. Think robin's egg blue, coral pink, or a patchwork of pastel hues. Let the paint dry fully before assembling. Use fishing line twine or soft jewelry wire to attach each piece to your base. Tie them at varying lengths so they chime gently rather than clatter. Space them evenly and hang the whole piece somewhere breezy. A porch eave garden hook or window frame will do. As the wind blows, each utensil taps the next in a soft, melodic clink. The sound is delicate, not loud, not brash, just enough to remind you that the garden is alive and that even forgotten tools still have a part to play. And if your fingers aren't as nimble as they once were, that's perfectly okay. You don't need perfection for this project. In fact, the irregularities, the different fork sizes, the way the spoons swing just slightly off beat are what make it beautiful. This chime becomes a gentle reminder that there's music in imperfection, that grace doesn't need gloss, that usefulness doesn't end when the cooking does. Still playing a part, still bringing lightness, just like you. Do you remember the soft pillowcases that once cradled your dreams? Maybe they were covered in tiny blue florals or faded stripes. Or maybe you can still feel the cool cotton against your cheek on summer nights. Even though the fabric may be worn or tucked away in the back of a linen drawer, it still holds softness, warmth, and potential. Today, we're transforming those old pillowcases into charming covers for your flower pots, like dressing your garden for Sunday best. This is one of the simplest and most accessible projects you can do, especially if bending or heavy lifting isn't easy. Start by gathering pillowcases with patterns you love. Think of colors that bring you peace or joy. Soft yellow vintage rose, gentle lavender. Even small tears or worn spots are welcome here. They tell a story. Choose a few medium or small-sized pots that sit comfortably at waist or table height. Clay, plastic, or even old tin cans will do. Wrap each one gently in your pillowcase fabric, trimming the length if needed. You don't have to sew, just fold the ends neatly under or tie them gently with ribbon, jute string, or fabric strips. If you like a tidier look, you can use fabric glue or safety pins to secure the back. Once your pot is dressed, simply place your favorite plant inside. It could be a leafy green fern, a bright geranium, or a cascade of white alyssum. You can even place a saucer inside the pot first to protect the fabric from water drips. Arrange your fabric-wrapped pots on a bench, a plant stand, or windowsill. If mobility is a concern, set them at a height where you can enjoy them without needing to bend. Eye-level beauty is the most comforting kind. These pot covers add instant color and softness to any outdoor or indoor space. More than that, they carry a whisper of memory, a scrap of fabric that once lived in a bedroom now basking in sunlight, cradling new life. It's a small reminder that nothing truly good ever goes to waste. Still soft, still comforting, still bringing joy. Just like you. Picture yourself stirring pasta in the kitchen years ago, steam curling upward, sunlight slanting through the curtains. That old metal colander, the one with a dent on the side and tiny holes like stars, might still be in a cupboard, unused but not forgotten. What if that everyday kitchen tool could shine again? Literally. In this next project, we'll turn an old colander into a magical hanging lantern that casts delicate dappled light across your garden like a sky full of tiny fireflies. First, find a metal colander with a bit of character round or oval, small or large, doesn't matter. A little rust adds charm, though a quick scrub with steel wool and a splash of white vinegar can bring back some shine if you'd like. Spray paint it in soft gold, matte white, or cheerful yellow, or leave it in its natural metal if that speaks to your style. For the light source, you can use a simple battery-operated LED puck light or a solar-powered fairy light bundle. These are lightweight and safe, and you won't have to fuss with wires or plugs. Just nestle the light inside the colander, letting the beams shine through the tiny perforations. If you use fairy lights, let a few strands dangle below like glowing vines. To hang your lantern, use a chain or sturdy twine tied to the colander's handles. Hang it from a low tree branch, a pergola beam, or even a shepherd's hook in the garden. And don't worry if lifting is tricky. You can also set it on a table or step stool where it will still cast its beautiful starlight. As evening falls, your lantern will glow, casting dotted patterns on nearby walls, flower beds, or stone paths. The effect is nothing short of enchanting. But beyond the sparkle, there's a quieter beauty here. A kitchen tool, once used to nourish and serve, is now offering its light to the garden. Still useful, still present. This lantern is more than decor. It's a symbol that warmth doesn't always come from heat. Sometimes it comes from memory, from repurposing, from presence. Still giving, still glowing, just like you. Do you remember the windows of your childhood home? The ones you leaned against during thunderstorms or opened to let in the scent of spring lilacs? Maybe one of those frames now sits in your garage, dusty and forgotten. The glass long gone, but the wood still holding the shape of a view. That frame, dear friend, still has something to offer. Today, we'll turn an old window into a piece of garden art, a portal not to the past, but to blooming, fragrant possibility. Start by finding a wooden window frame. It can be square tall, even a little crooked. Clean off the cobwebs gently, then sand any splinters. You can leave the wood natural for a rustic charm or brush it with a coat of pastel paint, sky blue, butter yellow, soft moss colors that echo the garden itself. Place the frame where it can stand proudly. Lean it against a fence, mount it onto a shed, or place it upright between flower beds using wooden stakes to secure it. There's no need to lift it high. Waist level or just above makes it easier to enjoy and tend. Now comes the magic. Choose a climbing plant to weave through the frame, something graceful and fragrant like clematis jasmine or climbing roses. As they grow, they'll dance through the openings like painted brush strokes, creating a living picture that changes with the seasons. You can even hang small garden signs, fairy lights, or dangling planters from the frame's top rail. Old teacups with succulents, tiny birdhouses, or wind catchers add delightful touches. And the best part, no digging, no lifting, no complicated tools. Just time, gentle hands, and a bit of care. What once framed a view now frames growth. It doesn't look outside anymore. It invites you inward into the heart of your own garden. And as the flowers climb and bloom, you might find that you too are still growing, still blooming. Because even an old frame can offer a new view. Still standing, still supporting beauty, just like you. Do you still have a box of old dishes tucked away? Maybe a plate with a crack or a teacup broken during a holiday dinner long ago? Things too chipped to use, but too meaningful to throw away. It's hard to part with beautiful things even when they've broken. But what if those shattered pieces could come together again, not as tableware, but as a mosaic path through your garden? Today, we'll take broken tiles or ceramic pieces and turn them into a magical, colorful garden pathway, a trail made of memories and imagination. Start by gathering your materials. Old plates, tiles, chipped mugs, they don't need to match. In fact, it's better if they don't. The variety of color, shape, and texture will make your path feel like a storybook come to life. Wrap the pieces in a towel and gently tap them with a hammer to break them into medium-sized shards. If your hands are sensitive, ask someone to help with this step. Be sure to wear gloves to protect your fingers. Next, pick a spot where you'd like your mosaic, maybe a single stepping stone, the edge of a flower bed, or a winding trail between garden chairs. Use quick-set mortar or tile adhesive on top of an old paver or flat concrete slab. Then place your ceramic pieces one by one, like puzzle pieces, letting the curves and cracks lead the way. Don't worry about perfection. This is art from the heart. Once the pieces are set, fill in the gaps with grout. You can choose white, gray, or even tinted grout to complement your color scheme. Wipe gently with a sponge and let it dry. If kneeling is hard on your joints, work at table height using a few small pavers or tiles. Even one decorated stepping stone is a treasure. As you place each broken piece, you may find yourself remembering the mug from your morning coffee routine, the plate that once held a child's birthday cake. Now those memories are part of your garden. Not thrown away, not forgotten. Reimagined, replanted, reclaimed. This project teaches us that broken doesn't mean useless. Sometimes it just means we're becoming something new. Still strong, still full of color, just like you. Have you ever stood before a mirror and caught a glimpse of something behind you that you didn't expect, a forgotten corner? A bit of light, a second view. Mirrors have a way of surprising us, of expanding what we think we see, and in the garden they can do just that, especially when placed with intention and care. Today we're turning an old mirror into a quiet illusion. A portal that doubles your flowers, reflects the sky, and makes your garden feel twice as alive. Start with a vintage mirror, maybe one with a wooden frame or an old vanity mirror that's lost its place inside. You might already have one tucked away, or you can often find them at thrift stores for just a few dollars. Clean the glass gently, and if the frame is looking tired, give it a coat of soft outdoor paint, dusty rose sage green or classic white. Now choose a spot where it can sit safely. If lifting is a challenge, prop it on a bench behind your plants, or secure it low to a fence where you can reach it comfortably. There's no need to hang it high. In fact, placing it at ground level among flowers and foliage creates the most enchanting effect. Position the mirror to reflect something you love. A patch of zinnias, a climbing rose, or even the sky through the leaves. The reflection adds depth to your space, making your garden feel larger, more layered, almost like a dream you can walk through. If birds or wildlife frequent your yard, place it where it won't confuse them, angled slightly and never in full sunlight to avoid glare. You can even surround it with small stones, driftwood, or trailing ivy to make it feel like a secret door tucked into the garden, something whimsical, something unexpected. And as you sit near it sipping your morning tea, you might find yourself looking into that mirror and seeing more than just flowers. You might see growth, both planted and personal. Beauty that was always there now reflected back to you. Because even in stillness, mirrors show us what's thriving, still bright, still full of possibility. Just like you. Maybe you remember the wooden crates from old general stores stacked high with apples or bottles of milk. Or perhaps you've used them to carry books during a move or to store your quilting fabrics. Strong, simple, and humble wooden crates have always been quiet helpers. But today, they're becoming something even more delightful, a garden sofa built from memory and made for rest. This project turns several wooden crates, the kind you can find at thrift stores, flea markets, or even behind local shops, into a cozy sitting bench, perfect for your patio or garden corner. And best of all, it's easy to arrange without tools or strain. Start by selecting 4 to 6 crates of similar size. Choose ones that are sturdy and free of splinters. If they're mismatched, even better, a little variation adds charm. Stack 2 crates side by side as the base. Then place 2 more on top, creating a short backrest. For extra comfort and stability, you can zip tie the crates together or ask a loved one to screw them gently in place. If lifting isn't easy for you, build it in the spot where you plan to leave it so you don't have to move it later. Now paint or stain your crates any way you like: cheerful turquoise, sunflower yellow, or even a soft weathered gray for a vintage look. Once the paint is dry, it's time to soften things up. Add a thick cushion across the seat, then layer on some throw pillows in floral or striped prints. The crates along the sides can even act as armrests or as little shelves to hold gardening books, seed packets, or a potted violet. Set your crate sofa under a tree on your porch or in a quiet nook by the flowers. And then sit. Let your back rest. Let your hands be still. Let the bird song drift by like music. You've built something not just useful, but welcoming, a space to breathe, to sip tea, to read, to think. From storage to sanctuary, these old crates have found new purpose. And in doing so, they remind us that comfort doesn't have to be bought brand new. Sometimes it's built gently, piece by piece, from the life we've already lived. Still strong, still giving rest, just like you. Once this old oil drum may have held something gritty and practical, fuel for machines maybe, or rainwater during dry seasons. It was useful in its time, no doubt. But now we're giving it a far gentler role. Today, it becomes a pond, a peaceful pocket of water full of reflection, movement, and life. Even the most industrial object can hold something soft. To begin, look for a clean, empty oil drum or large metal barrel. You don't need the full size, just the bottom half will do. Many garden centers or salvage yards carry them, and some folks even offer them for free. If the idea of cutting one in half feels daunting, ask a neighbor or a local handyman. Often they're happy to help with a quick, safe cut. Once you have your drum base, give it a good scrub. Paint it if you'd like rich cobalt blue for a Mediterranean feel, or forest green to blend with the plants. Set it on a stable surface, ideally somewhere at hip height or lower. There's no need to dig. This is a pond that rises up to meet you, easy to tend and admire without kneeling or straining. Line the inside with a waterproof liner or heavy-duty plastic, then fill it gently with water. Let it sit a day or two before adding anything else so the temperature can settle. Then the joy begins. Float a few water lilies on the surface, their round leaves casting shadows like coins. Add a small solar-powered fountain if you'd like the sound of a gentle trickle. If mosquitoes are a worry, a drop of pet-safe mosquito dunk will keep them at bay. And if you'd like, add a few smooth river rocks or glass beads at the bottom for sparkle. This tiny pond doesn't need to be grand. It's not about fish or fancy filters. It's about peace, stillness, the way sunlight dances on water, the way your reflection shimmers when you lean in, the way something that once held fuel can now hold calm. It's proof that even what once felt heavy and utilitarian can become light and beautiful, still holding, still reflecting peace. Just like you. Can you picture it, that old china set from years past, carefully unwrapped for birthdays, holidays, or quiet afternoons with a good friend? Maybe there's a teacup with a chipped rim or a teapot missing its lid. Too delicate to use, too dear to throw away. But what if those porcelain memories could bloom? Today, we're turning vintage teacups and teapots into dainty, heartfelt planters, tiny gardens for tiny spaces filled with charm and sentiment. Start by gathering any mismatched or gently worn pieces. Look through your cupboards or visit a thrift store where shelves often hold forgotten beauties for just $1 or $2. Look for cups with floral patterns, gold rims or pastel hues. Even a crack or faded paint adds character. For accessibility, this is one of the easiest projects. No lifting, no digging, no bending. Simply place the teacup or teapot on a sturdy table shelf or windowsill where it can catch the light. Add a small layer of gravel or pebbles at the bottom for drainage, then spoon in some light potting soil. Choose plants that stay small and sweet, succulents like hens and chicks, baby's tears, or tiny blooming calanchos. These require minimal watering and fit neatly within the porcelain frame. If you're planting in a teapot, let the blooms spill softly from the spout as if pouring life instead of tea. A row of cups lined along a porch rail or clustered on a tray can become a little tea party of greenery, gentle, playful, full of life. And the best part, every time you water them, you're also tending to your own memories. That cup you held while watching rainfall, the pot that once sat steaming beside a dear friend. Now they're blooming again, not in a china cabinet, but in the open air. This isn't just decoration, it's remembrance. It's the art of letting old things speak again, not in words, but in petals and leaves. Still elegant, still full of grace. Just like you. There's a certain kind of ladder many of us remember, wood worn smooth by time, perhaps once used to paint a room, hang curtains, or pick apples from the backyard tree. It might not feel safe to climb anymore, but what if that old ladder could still stand tall in your garden? Not to lift you up, but to lift up blooms, herbs, and color. Today, we're turning an old wooden ladder into a tiered plant stand, a vertical garden that grows upward like a gentle story, unfolding step by step. Look for a folding ladder or even a straight one you can lean securely against a wall or fence. Clean it off gently, no need to strip the paint or sand it unless you want to. Let the scrapes and faded colors speak. They're part of its character. If you'd like, add a soft coat of pastel paint, sage buttercup yellow, or a faded robin's egg blue. Just a light brush is enough to freshen it while keeping its soul intact. Now comes the planting. For a freestanding ladder, place 1 or 2 wide planks across each rung to act as shelves. Or if your ladder leans, hang pots directly from the rungs using metal hooks, sturdy twine, or wire baskets. Choose lightweight containers to avoid strain and keep everything easy to move and tend. Place the tallest plants at the bottom and let the shorter or trailing ones rise as you go, creating a cascading effect. Think ferns, trailing ivy, pansies, petunias, or even kitchen herbs like thyme and mint. Each level becomes its own little garden room. If you have trouble bending, arrange your favorites at the middle or top shelves so you can water and admire them without strain. A simple watering can kept close by is all you need. Position your ladder near the porch, along a sunny wall, or in a shady corner that needs a touch of life. Add a solar lantern or a string of fairy lights, and suddenly this humble ladder becomes a garden lighthouse, guiding the eye upward and inviting beauty to climb. It's a quiet kind of transformation. A tool once used to reach things is now helping flowers reach the sun. Still useful, still upright, still holding beauty, just like you. Do you remember nights around a fire, maybe in the backyard, maybe at a campsite? Faces glowing orange, the quiet crackle filling the air like a lullaby. Warmth has a way of drawing us together. And today we're creating just that. A simple fire pit made from something unexpected, an old car rim. Yes, the same rim that once rolled across highways and gravel roads can now bring light and gathering to your garden. Start by finding a used steel car rim. They're easy to come by at junkyards, flea markets, or even your own garage. If it's rusty, don't worry. A bit of steel wool and paint can make it beautiful again. Choose a high-heat spray paint in fire-safe black bronze, or even a cheerful red to add personality. Let it dry completely before you begin the setup. Set the rim on a fire-safe surface like a flat patch of gravel, brick, or concrete. If lifting is hard, ask someone to help place it for you, or build it in a low container or tray that keeps it stable and accessible. Inside the rim layer, some fire-safe gravel or sand to help absorb heat. Then add a few small dry logs or fire-safe firewood. You can also use a portable pre-made fire starter to make lighting easier. And if an open flame isn't ideal for your space or safety, consider placing an LED flame light or solar lantern inside for the same cozy effect without the fire. As evening falls, the fire pit glows small, contained, and inviting. It doesn't need to roar. A soft flame is enough to warm hands, toast a marshmallow, or simply make the garden feel like home after sunset. Place a few chairs nearby or simply sit and reflect. Watch the flames flicker through the circular frame of the rim like a heart beating, like stories rising in smoke. What once sped through life is now a place to pause. Still solid, still full of purpose, still warming hearts. Just like you. Think of that old dresser, the one that once held Sunday shirts, folded linens, or little socks in the top drawer. Over time, its knobs may have loosened, its paint chipped, its frame sagged just a little. But even when the drawers stick or the legs wobble, something about it still feels like home. Instead of hauling it to the curb today, we'll turn that dresser, or even just its drawers, into a charming, layered garden. A vertical bloom of memory and color. If the whole dresser is still sturdy, you can keep it intact and simply remove the top few drawers. Pull the lower ones out slightly to create staggered planting tiers. If the frame is too far gone, save the drawers themselves. They can be used individually or stacked in a playful tower. Begin by painting each drawer in your favorite garden-inspired colors: sunflower yellow, hydrangea, blue, soft mossy green. Don't worry about perfect coverage. A little wear adds vintage character. If you like stencil, the fronts with floral designs, or gentle words like grow joy or bloom. For drainage, drill a few small holes in the bottom of each drawer, or if that's tricky, place small rocks or broken terracotta pieces at the base to help with water flow. Then add a light potting mix and begin planting. Use a mix of flowers and herbs, trailing plants in the top drawer, upright blooms in the middle, and something cheerful like marigolds or dusty miller in the bottom. Even succulents thrive in shallow drawers. If bending is difficult, place the drawers atop a sturdy bench, cinder blocks, or wooden crates to lift them closer to waist height. That way you can tend to them comfortably without strain. Once placed in your garden patio or even along a walkway, this dresser-turned-garden becomes more than decoration. It becomes a tribute to the layered stories of your life. The drawers that once held fabric now hold soil. The handles once pulled by small hands now pull your gaze towards something living and new, still full of surprises, still opening gently, just like you. Once upon a time, a bit of wire fencing might have simply marked boundaries where the garden ended, where pets stayed safe, or where tomatoes grew in tidy rows. It served its purpose, plain and practical. But today, we'll give it a gentler role, not to contain, but to lift. With a little care, an old piece of wire fencing can become a graceful rose trellis, offering support not just for blooms, but for beauty. Begin by finding a piece of wire fence. Even a bent or rusted section will do. Chain link, old poultry fencing, or even a wire shelf from a thrift store can all work. Wipe it down, and if you'd like, spray paint it in soft white antique bronze or sage green to blend with your garden. The open weave of the wire is perfect for climbing plants. Choose a spot where the fence can stand upright behind a flower bed along the porch, or nestled in a corner that needs a little life. If it's a small panel, you can push it gently into the soil. For larger or flimsier pieces, support it with 2 wooden stakes or zip tie it to an existing structure like a railing or post. No digging required, just gentle placement. Now the fun part, choosing your climber. Roses are the romantic favorite, of course. Try varieties like Don Juan or New Dawn that thrive in containers or small garden beds. But you can also choose Clematis Morning Glory or Sweet Peas for faster growth and a lighter touch. Gently guide the plant's tendrils toward the wire, encouraging it to climb with soft ties made of twine or strips of old cloth. As the weeks pass, you'll see green shoots spiral upward, buds unfurl, and blooms begin to flutter in the breeze. And there it is, what was once just a fence becomes a painting in motion, a backdrop of blossoms, an invitation to pause. This trellis doesn't just hold flowers. It holds space for growth, for color, for surprise. Still standing, still holding beauty aloft. Remember the old saucepans clanging in the cabinet, the little one you used to melt butter, or the dented stock pot that simmered Sunday stew. Over the years, their shine may have faded, their handles loosened. But even cookware, tired from years of service, can be reborn, this time not in the kitchen but in the garden. Today we're turning old pots and pans into cheerful, whimsical planters, a true parade of personality. Start by gathering what you have: saucepans, frying pans, even small Dutch ovens or muffin tins. No need for matching sets. In fact, the more mixed and charmingly mismatched, the better. If you're short on pans, a quick visit to a thrift store or community yard sale will likely turn up more than a few, often for less than $1 a piece. Wash them clean and inspect for sharp edges. Then, if you wish, give them a new coat of life with spray paint in bright garden-loving hues: lemon, yellow, cherry red, turquoise, or lavender. Or leave them as they are, letting the patina of past meals shine through. Drill a few drainage holes in the bottoms, or simply layer in pebbles or pieces of broken clay pot to help prevent waterlogging. Add potting mix, then fill with blooms or herbs: marigolds, nasturtiums, rosemary, basil, or whatever brings you joy. Now for the fun part, the arrangement. Line them up along a garden wall like a cooking line turned flower gallery. Stack them on wooden crates or plant stands. Hang frying pans from nails on your fence, each one a blooming wall sconce. If lifting is a challenge, set them at tabletop height or arrange them on a low bench so you can tend to them comfortably. Each pot becomes a smile. Each pan a story. That old sauté pan now cradles a bouquet. That scuffed muffin tin, a tiny succulent forest. It's a joyful reclaiming of things that once fed your family and now feed your spirit. Because nothing has to be perfect to be loved, or new to be useful. Still nourishing, still bringing joy, just like you. Think back to warm summer evenings when the porch light flickered on and fireflies danced through the yard. Maybe you had a jar once, catching little glows in the dusk, holding them gently for just a moment before letting them go. There's something magical about light in a jar, especially when it comes from your own hands. Today we're bringing that glow back with a gentle project, transforming mason jars into soft, glowing garden lights. Start with whatever glass jars you have: mason jars, jelly jars, or even old pickle jars. If they're cloudy or dusty, give them a rinse and let them dry in the sun. Each jar is like a small lantern waiting to be lit. You can leave them clear for a soft candlelit look, or paint them with translucent glass paint in soft amber sea blue or rose pink for a colored glow. Another option is to wrap the outside in a bit of lace twine or even pressed flowers for added texture and charm. For the light inside, the most senior-friendly option is solar-powered fairy lights or battery-operated tea lights. No matches, no cords, just a gentle flick of a switch. Tuck the lights inside and watch the jar come alive. If you choose citronella candles, they'll also help keep the mosquitoes away during warm evenings. Now comes the fun of placing them. You can hang the jars along a fence with wire loops, nestle them into plant pots, or line a garden path to create a gentle trail of light. If bending is uncomfortable, cluster them on a table windowsill or raised garden bed for eye-level enjoyment. And when twilight comes, these little jars begin their quiet work, glowing softly among the leaves, casting golden reflections on the petals and stones. They don't shine loudly, but they don't need to. Each one says, "Here I am," still bright, still beautiful. And just like those old jars, you don't need to be new to be luminous. You don't need to be perfect to light the way. Still glowing, still full of warmth, just like you. Do you have a small side table tucked away somewhere? Maybe it once sat beside your favorite chair, holding tea and a good book. Or maybe it stood near the front door, waiting quietly with a bowl of keys. Over time, the paint may have chipped, the legs grown wobbly, but the table still stands, still offers a place to set something special. Today, we're giving that little table a new purpose, a charming plant pedestal perfect for showcasing your favorite potted blooms. Start with any small table, round or square, wood or metal. If it's too worn for indoor use but still sturdy enough to hold a pot, it's perfect for this. Dust it off, and if you like, give it a fresh coat of outdoor paint. A cheerful turquoise, sunny yellow, or soft lavender can turn it from forgotten furniture into a garden focal point. Once painted and dried, move it to a cozy garden corner near a bench or under a tree where the sunlight gently filters through. The beauty of this project is that there's no need for lifting or bending. The table rises to meet you, making it senior-friendly and easy to tend. Now place your favorite planter on the top. It could be a classic terracotta pot filled with geraniums, a thrifted soup tureen brimming with mint, or a bowl of succulents nestled in pebbles. Consider adding a trailing plant like ivy or string of pearls, allowing it to spill softly over the edge. If you want to dress it up even more, you can stencil a floral pattern onto the tabletop, or glue a lace doily to add a vintage touch beneath the pot. For evening charm, surround it with battery-powered fairy lights, or a lantern jar like the one we made in the last project. This little plant stand does more than display a flower. It lifts it up. It offers a moment of spotlight, of care, of beauty raised up for the world to see. And maybe it reminds you, as it should, that nothing is too small or too worn to shine again. Still sturdy, still standing with purpose. Do you remember the feeling of swinging as a child? Feet off the ground, wind in your hair. Laughter carried on the breeze. Maybe you once pushed your own children or grandchildren on an old tire swing, that solid ring of rubber suspended from a tree branch, worn smooth from years of joy. And even if it no longer swings, that old tire can still lift spirits. Today, we're transforming a used tire into a playful, blooming garden. Feature 1 part memory, 1 part flower bed, all heart. Begin with a tire that's past its driving days. You can often find them for free at service shops or tucked in a garage corner. Give it a good scrub with soap and water and let it dry in the sun. Then choose a bright paint color, orange, teal, soft coral, and coat the outside for a fresh, cheerful look. Spray paint works best for coverage and ease. If mobility is a concern, keep the tire grounded. Lay it flat in a flower bed or on a patio. You can fill the center with potting soil and turn it into a raised flower bed, no bending required. For those who enjoy a little vertical creativity, have a friend or neighbor help you hang it from a low tree branch or pergola beam using sturdy rope or chain. Just 1 to 2 feet off the ground is enough to create a sweet focal point. Now plant your flowers. Bright trailing varieties like petunias, marigolds, or lobelia spill beautifully over the edges. Or plant 1 large fern or ornamental grass for a bold look. If your tire is hanging, use a lightweight liner or shallow container inside the opening to hold the soil securely. Add a few decorative touches if you like, a bow tie to the top, a welcome sign in the center, or solar fairy lights wrapped around the rim. It's your swing, your story. This project isn't just about gardening. It's about celebrating motion, memory, and magic. It turns something once fast and functional into something still and soulful. Because even things that no longer turn can still bring joy, still playful, still carrying beauty. Just like you. There's something quietly comforting about watering your plants, that daily ritual of giving life one gentle pour at a time. But you don't need a fancy watering can or heavy metal spout to do it. Sometimes the simplest tools are the most helpful. Today's idea is as practical as it is heartwarming, turning a plastic bottle. Yes, the kind from your recycling bin into a lightweight, senior-friendly watering can. Start with a clean plastic bottle. A 1 or 2 liter soda bottle works well, but even a detergent bottle with a handle is ideal for better grip. Wash it thoroughly with warm water and a little dish soap, making sure no residue remains. Then take a small nail or thumbtack and carefully poke several holes into the cap. You don't need many. 6 to 10 small holes are enough to create a soft, gentle sprinkle. If you have arthritis or difficulty using tools, ask a family member to help with this quick step. Fill the bottle with water, screw the cap back on, and give it a test pour. The water should come out in a slow, even stream, perfect for delicate seedlings, patio pots, or hanging baskets that don't like a strong gush. You can even make a few versions with different hole sizes for herbs versus flowers. And here's a sweet little tip: decorate your bottle. Wrap it in fabric scraps, or paint it with cheerful flowers. Add a ribbon, a label, or even your name. It doesn't have to be plain. This is your tool made with love for tending life. Store it right near your garden chair, on a shelf by the porch, or even hang it from a nail on the fence. It's light, easy to carry, and fully customized by you. This simple bottle saves money, reduces waste, and makes gardening easier for hands that have done a lifetime of good work. It proves that usefulness can be reborn, and beauty doesn't always cost a thing. Still helping, still pouring kindness, just like you. Do you remember saving tin cans for craft projects with the kids? Or maybe rinsing one out to scoop flower store buttons or plant a single marigold? Something about their simplicity makes them feel endlessly useful, plain on the outside, but always ready to shine. Today we're giving those humble cans one more chance to glow by turning them into charming, twinkling garden lanterns. Start with any empty tin cans, soup cans, coffee tins, or vegetable cans. All work well. Peel off the label, rinse thoroughly, and let them dry. If there are any sharp edges, smooth them down with a bit of sandpaper or ask for help from someone handy. Safety comes first. Here's a gentle trick to make decorating easier. Fill each can with water and freeze it overnight. This keeps the metal sturdy while you create your design. Using a hammer and nail or a small hand drill if available, gently tap small holes into the sides in any pattern you like: stars, heart, spirals, or even initials. No need for perfection. The charm is in the handmade. Once your pattern is complete, let the ice melt and dry the can thoroughly. Then paint the outside in your favorite garden colors: sunshine, yellow, cornflower blue, or soft blush. You can even leave the metal bare for a rustic, weathered look. Spray sealant adds a nice protective touch if you want the colors to last longer outdoors. To light them, simply drop in a battery-operated tea light or a small solar-powered light. If you enjoy real candlelight and it's safe to do so in your area, use a citronella votive to add both glow and insect protection. Line the lanterns along a garden path, group them on a porch table, or hang them from shepherd's hooks using wire or twine. If lifting is a concern, display them at waist height or on a bench so you can easily change the lights when needed. And then just wait for dusk. As the sun goes down, your tin can lanterns come alive, flickering gently, casting patterned light onto leaves, bricks, and blooms. They look like fireflies made by hand. It's a simple thing. A can that once held soup now holds stars. Still shining, still serving, just like you. Have you ever seen a brightly painted door standing alone in a field or tucked inside a garden? There's something whimsical and enchanting about it, like it might open into another world. Or perhaps into a memory long held. A door doesn't always need walls. Sometimes it simply needs a little space to stand and shine. Today we'll take an old weathered door, the kind that's lost its hinges or purpose, and turn it into a radiant garden accent, bursting with color, life, and imagination. Begin with any wooden door you have on hand or find at a local thrift store or salvage yard. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, the more worn, the more charm it brings. Give it a gentle wipe down and check for peeling paint or splinters. Then comes the fun part, the color. Choose a hue that makes you smile every time you see it. Bright yellow is a favorite. It looks like sunshine even on cloudy days. But coral turquoise or lavender are all lovely too. Apply a coat or two of outdoor paint and let the grain show through if you like a rustic finish. Now decide where your door will live. You can stand it up against a garden wall, anchor it between two wooden posts, or simply lean it into a nook filled with flowers. No need to lift it high or dig deep. Keep it at eye level, easy to enjoy and easy to reach. To bring it to life, add a few embellishments, a vintage handle, a small mailbox with wildflowers spilling out, or a wreath made of dried herbs. Plant climbing roses or morning glories nearby, and let them wrap the frame like lace. As seasons pass, they'll turn this door into a blooming gateway. And what's behind it? Nothing and everything. This door doesn't open, not in the way most do. Instead, it invites you to imagine, to pause, to smile. It's a reminder that we can create beauty not just by doing, but by dreaming. An old door once opened and closed 1,000 times now simply stands quietly, bright, deeply rooted. Still welcoming, still full of wonder, just like you. Perhaps there's an old chair in your home that's no longer fit for sitting. Maybe the seat wore through or one of the legs grew wobbly with time. But even a chair that can't hold a person can still hold something beautiful. Today, we're transforming a vintage chair into a flower planter, a piece of your past, that now makes space for something new to grow. Begin by finding a wooden or metal chair with an open seat or one that can be gently removed. Thrift stores often have them in the back, and sometimes neighbors set them out by the curb. Even a chair missing parts can find its second life in the garden. Wipe off the dust and let its story show a bit of chipped paint, a weathered leg. These are not flaws, they're character. If you wish, add a coat of outdoor paint in a color that makes you smile, perhaps ocean blue buttery yellow, or a warm terracotta. Next, turn the open seat into a planter. You can place a small wire basket, an old colander, or even a plastic bowl snugly inside. Line it with coconut fiber or landscape fabric, then fill with potting soil. Choose flowers that spill and cascade like trailing petunias verbena or sweet alyssum, so they overflow from the center like a soft floral fountain. Position the chair wherever you'd like, a touch of surprise by the porch steps in a shady corner or next to your mailbox. If lifting is a concern, ask for a little help placing it. Then you can enjoy tending the flowers at waist height without bending or reaching. To make it even more personal, tie a small sign to the back grandma's garden seat of joy, or simply welcome. A little bough, a hanging mason jar, or a solar lantern can turn it into an evening focal point too. This once silent chair now sings with color and scent, a bloom where once there was simply rest. And maybe it reminds you that even when we've been set aside, we're still capable of holding joy. Still graceful, still giving, just like you. You might still have a pair of jeans that no longer fits, not because of age, but because life changes us, and fabric doesn't always follow. Worn knees, frayed hems, maybe a tiny ink stain from a busy afternoon. But even these old jeans softened by time can hold something lovely again. Today, we're turning denim scraps into charming pot covers, cozy little jackets for your plants stitched with story and joy. Start by gathering old denim, a leg from a worn pair of jeans, a pocket that still holds its shape, or a swatch from a denim jacket you once wore in your garden. Cut the denim into rectangles that fit the height and circumference of your pot. If cutting feels tricky, trace the pot first with a pencil to guide you. Wrap the denim around the pot like a sleeve snug, but not too tight. If you don't want to sew, no problem. Use fabric glue safety pins or twine to hold it in place. Fold the edges inward to create a neat seam, or let them stay rough for that lovely rustic touch. Now comes the creative part. Decorate with fabric patches, embroidery, or buttons from your sewing tin. Maybe an old heart applique, a crocheted flower, or a hand-stitched phrase like grow with grace, or still blooming. You can even iron on patches that tell a story, a butterfly, a watering can, a bird. Once finished, slip your denim sleeve over the pot. This works especially well for lightweight plastic planters that need a little love. You can even cover a can or small bucket the same way. Place your dressed-up pots where they'll catch the light on a porch table, windowsill, or raised shelf. If your hands ache or you're sensitive to bending, keeping them waist-high makes care simple and sweet. These denim covers aren't just pretty. They're a tribute to all the ways we grow. Stitched from the old, made for the new. Because like denim, you've softened but never weakened. Still stitched with purpose, still holding life, just like you. Do you remember the rows of mason jars that once lined pantry shelves, filled with jam pickles or maybe tomatoes from your summer harvest? There's something deeply comforting about those jars. Simple, dependable, and always ready to hold something wonderful. Today, we'll turn them into glowing candle holders for your garden, tiny beacons of warmth and welcome flickering gently as the evening settles in. Start with any mason jar you have, wide mouth or narrow clear or tinted. If they're a little cloudy or scratched, all the better. They've lived a life. Rinse them out and dry them thoroughly. Now choose your candles. Battery-operated tea lights are a lovely choice. No flame, no worry. Just soft glowing light with the flip of a switch. Or for a touch of traditional charm, use real citronella votives. Not only do they glow with that familiar golden hue, but they also help keep mosquitoes away during your twilight garden moments. Drop one candle into each jar, then personalize the outside with simple touches. Wrap the mouth with jute twine, add a dried flower under the tie, or stencil a heart or leaf in white paint. If you like color, tint the jars with glass paint, amber rose, or soft blue for a stained glass effect. To make them even more garden-friendly, add a small layer of pebbles or sand at the bottom for extra stability and texture. The weight will keep the jars steady on breezy nights. Now place your jar lanterns wherever the evening calls for a little magic, along a garden path, clustered in a group on your patio table, or nestled into flower beds. If you prefer not to bend, set them on a raised bench, window box, or shelf so you can reach and enjoy them with ease. As the light fades, you'll begin to see the quiet beauty they bring. Gentle flickers dancing through glass, reflections glimmering on leaves, a reminder that small lights still make the night warmer. These aren't just candles in jars, they're memories you can hold. Still glowing, still making moments soft and lovely, just like you. Some things were built to move like bicycle wheels, once spinning through neighborhoods past tall grass and mailbox flags. Maybe you still remember the clatter of playing cards clipped to spokes, or the way the wind felt on your face as you coasted downhill. But even when their riding days are over, bicycle wheels can still bring a beautiful kind of motion in the form of growth. Today we'll turn a bicycle wheel into a graceful trellis, a place for flowers to climb and dreams to linger. Start with any old bicycle wheel, even one that's slightly bent or missing a spoke. Clean it gently with a cloth, and if you like, spray it with weather-resistant paint. White looks elegant. Black adds contrast. Or go bold with sunflower yellow or ocean blue. There's no right or wrong, just what makes your heart smile. Now decide where it will live. If lifting is a concern, lean it directly against a fence or attach it to a post that's already in place. You can also hang it flat against a wall or suspend it from a sturdy beam like a garden chandelier. No need for fancy tools. A bit of twine garden wire or a helping hand is all it takes. To begin the trellising, choose a climbing flower. Morning glories, sweet peas, or clematis are all gentle growers. Plant them near the base, and as they grow, guide their tendrils through the wheel's spokes. You'll see their green threads wrapping gently around the metal like nature weaving lace. And when they bloom, oh how they bloom. Delicate blossoms curl between spokes like little stars, turning that humble wheel into a burst of color and shape. It's a slow, beautiful kind of movement, not spinning anymore, but climbing, stretching, reaching. This trellis doesn't just hold plants. It holds time. It carries the rhythm of the past into the poetry of the present. And when you sit nearby with your tea or simply take a moment to look, you'll see not just flowers, but something older, deeper, a reminder that movement takes many forms, still turning hearts, still supporting life, just like you. And now, dear friend, we've reached the end of our peaceful stroll through old treasures and blooming ideas. Can you see it? The quiet transformation, not just in your garden, but in the way you see the world around you. An oil drum becomes a pond, a spoon begins to sing, A drawer long emptied overflows with life. You didn't have to spend much, lift much, or do anything in a rush. You just had to notice, to imagine, to care. That's the beauty of this journey. It reminds us that aging doesn't mean fading. It means flowering in new directions. It means finding joy in stillness, pride in simplicity, and strength in reimagining the things we've held on to. Each of these 30 ideas, from denim pot covers to glowing mason jars, tells a little story about resilience, creativity, and second chances. And so do you. You've likely walked many paths by now. Some were bright, some were overgrown, but you're still here, still growing, still holding light in your hands and beauty in your heart. You don't need youth to create wonder. You don't need riches to create warmth. Your garden, like your life, is proof that gentle love and thoughtful attention are the most powerful tools of all. So take a breath, look around, and smile. Maybe there's an old chair waiting to bloom. Maybe a mirror that can still reflect the sky. Maybe you're already sitting in the middle of your next masterpiece. If any of these ideas brought a spark of joy to your day, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Which one will you try next? Or which one reminded you of something you already made long ago? And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel. There's always more gentle inspiration coming your way, more ways to find comfort, creativity, and pride in every season of life. Until next time, dear friend, may your hands stay busy, your heart stay open, and your garden in all its forms continue to grow with grace. Happy gardening.